Guys, what is going on? Welcome back to part 2 of us manual swapping Perry's S13. Now if you didn't watch part 1, please be sure to watch part 1 before you watch this video. In part 1 we actually took out his automatic transmission right here and we explained how to do that. And in part 2 we're going to be putting the brand new 5-speed that is purchased. Now this is a genuine 5-speed transmission. All parts were purchased from Just Jap to do this swap. Guys, if you want to do this swap on your S13, I suggest hitting up Just Jap and they will sort you out with every single part you need. I'll just show you again what we have here. So we've got extreme performance clutch, flywheel, clutch pressure plate, and the clutch down there. We've also got some of these sort of parts that we need, basically throwout bearing, dummy shaft, and the little, also have a brass thing to put in the crank and center the clutch in. All good, said and done. Here we've got our bell housing bolts. This is for the manual, so the automatic bolts, I don't even know if they fit, but we got ourselves manual bell housing bolts as well.
Shifter, brand new from NISSAN. Clutch lines, we got the boots, we got slaves, masters, shift knob, brand new from NISSAN as well. We showed that in the previous video.
Yep, all this was showed in the previous video, so basically just giving you guys an overcap. We've also got this clutch pedal bracket.
That's a Nismo. We had the downpipe. We had to take the downpipe out just to give us a bit more room to take out the bolts on the passenger side.
Yep.
Of the gearbox, and yeah.
So now that the automatic transmission is out, we've got to do some wiring. So before we put the new manual transmission in, we just got to sort out the wiring side of things, so it's just so much easier while the transmission's out. Now here is the automatic loom. Let me just switch the camera over so I can show you guys exactly what we're going to be using off the automatic transmission loom. The loom comes out with the transmission. Now these plugs, if you didn't watch last video, I'll just give you a quick look at where they go. So basically they clip on right next to the fuse box. There is 1, 2, 3, and the 4th clip is underneath right there. So basically what we're going to be using off this loom is this plug right here. So we're going to cut this one, we're going to bridge it together, and basically this is the clip that clips underneath the fuse box. These 3 clips are the ones that are on the side of the fuse box. We're only going to be using this one here. So these 2 are the ones that we're going to need to use. These 2 we're not going to need at all. This big plug is located underneath the fuse box. All we need to do with this one is chop both wires and bridge them together. Usually on an automatic car, you can't start the car unless it is in park or neutral. By bridging this plug, it tricks the automatic computer to think that the car is always in park or neutral, meaning you can start the car with no issues at any given time.
Alright guys, as you saw in that little time lapse, we put this together, bridged it together, and now we're going to plug it in. Just under here, this bottom plug, just going to slide in there. That's it. Easy as that.
That's it. You just want to tuck it away.
And if we're just going to tuck it once we bolt up the fuse box, maybe we'll just lift it over and just fold it underneath where it bolts up, just so you don't see it exposed.
Yeah.
But because we're still messing around with some wiring here, we got one more plug. But yeah.
Alright, now that that's all said and done, we're going to go back to the automatic transmission loom, and we're going to have to use one more plug on this loom. Now we don't need the brown plug, we don't need the small plug, but what we're going to be using is this grey plug. It's an 8-pin plug, and this is what we're going to be using to plug back onto the car. Now we're going to be using that green wire, as you can see there, and we're also going to be using the black one there too. So we're going to chop all these wires off. We're going to tape them all up individually, and we're going to leave the green and the black out, and we're going to speak to you exactly what we're going to do with those. But for now, Perry, you want to do the honors?
Yes, unfortunately. Ready?
Do it. Whoosh.
Ooh. Alright, so what we're going to do, we're going to keep the black one, keep the green one, and the rest of these we're just going to tape them up with some electrical tape just so they're not exposed. So now what we're going to do, because our gearbox actually came with the plug, that's how it comes genuine from Nissan. Now what we're going to do, because we don't have any connectors, you can use those sliding connectors. I'm not sure what you call them, I'm not really the best with electrical, but you can use those sliding connectors and extend this. But what we're going to do, we're going to snip off that plug, we're going to extend these wires using some wire here that we have. So we're going to extend these, so obviously that's going to get chopped off. We're going to extend these to as long as we need till it comes up into the engine bay near the fuse box, and then so imagine that there like that, and however much length we need we're going to cut, and that is going to plug into the plug just up top here, just in there. Alright, let's get it done.
Now the reason we have to wire this plug on the gearbox to this plug that goes in the fuse box is this plug actually makes the reverse lights work when you put the car in reverse. It can be wired either way, so don't be scared to do it as long as you have the black and the green wires connected to it. Now we could have made up a plug, but hardwiring it this way will make no difference. Be sure to leave about 1 meter of wire so the plug can reach its desired place in the engine bay. Now that's all taped off individually and out of the way. That's the only 2 wires we need, the green and the black, onto here. And there's one more plug on the gearbox that we're not going to have to worry about, so we don't have to use this. So we'll just tuck that away. That's not getting used at all. So all the wiring's done now for the gearbox side of things. Now we can go and install our...
I think we're going to do the flywheel next.
Yep. So let's install the flywheel now, and from there we're going to put the clutch on with the clutch pressure plate, and then gearbox will go on. And we also have to do the foot pedal and the clutch slave cylinder and stuff like that too. Okay, before we go to installing the gearbox, we move inside the car. We'll be installing the brake and the clutch pedals. The manual brake pedal is smaller than the automatic pedal, so you have some room for the clutch pedal beside it. Most people chop their brake pedal, but we'll just be replacing the whole thing. Before we do that, we'll need to drill some holes in the firewall to mount the clutch pedal bracket. 1 hole in the center for the clutch master cylinder to come through, and 2 holes for the studs which will secure the pedal bracket. Once that's all done, you will also need to unbolt this little box which interferes with the pedal bracket. It's held up by one 12mm bolt. If you do not take this box off, then the pedal bracket will not fit in the desired location. Now underneath the car, before we start installing the flywheel and the clutch, this bigger brass fitting needs to be removed with this special puller kit. This was used for the automatic torque converter to sit up flush. And we have to install this new smaller brass fitting which is included in our manual swap kit. This just needs to be tapped in straight with a socket that fits just over it, and this allows for the dummy shaft to fit in straight and align the clutch. We bolted in the flywheel with ARP bolts and the recommended setting, which is 94 to 101 foot-pounds of torque or 127 to 137 Newton meters. So the release bearing that came out on the brand new gearbox is for a standard clutch, so it's not going to work for our application. So we got also with the kit another release bearing OE replacement, and that's going to match our clutch. And as you can see here, it's also a little bit thicker than the OE one. We just got to tap this part out here, and we got to tap it into this one. Basically, we tapped out the release bearing that came on the standard clutch fork and used a socket that fits just over it to tap the new one in supplied for the swap. If you have access to a press machine, it's much easier to do this, but we didn't, so a socket worked for us. After that's all seated, we installed it back onto the fork and then back onto the gearbox. Move the fork up and down to make sure it works, and it's also a good idea to grease up the shaft where the release bearing is moving in and out of. Clutch is now ready to go on, and pressure plate is torqued to 30 foot-pounds of torque or 40 newton meters of torque. Once that's all on, it's all hands on deck, ready to put the gearbox on. Oh, you can grab it from there too. Oh, it's in!
Oh, there you go.
Fucking all you have is Dino to push it from the top.
It's in. Get a bolt and we'll hold it.
You little I did it all!
Alright, gearbox is in. Thanks to all the boys.
Hey, thank you.
Oh shit.
Who was that?
That was you.
That's staying in there, boys.
Hey,
Hey,
thank me.
thank Dino for
Thank me for putting it in.
his Midas touch,
Yes.
giving us a hand from the
From the
From
inside of the car.
engine.
interior where you belong,
That's correct.
Mr. Planet Trim.
Yes.
Alright, so Nico's just finishing up installing the manual tail shaft. Everything fit on there nice and as expected. Now we have the speed sensor which is here. This speed sensor is actually the automatic speed sensor, does not fit the manual gearbox. So we didn't know that prior to installing the gearbox. So we had to actually order a manual speed sensor. We picked it up the next day and we installed it. Then we filled the car up with oil and then we went for the drive on the next day. We're going to be installing this on the transmission where this plastic fitting is here. We're just going to pull it out and put this one in there, bolt that up with a 10mm bolt, and this end of the speed sensor plugs right onto this thing here. So I'm just going to install that and then I'll get back to you once that's all on there. Alright guys, this is another bit of an update. We've been slaving away with the boys on the car. I didn't really film much after we put the tail shaft in, but I'll show you guys what we have done. So we got the master cylinder in there now, it's all bolted up. I've also put fluid in it and we're just bleeding it. Perry's got the slave cylinder on the gearbox underneath. Yep. I'm gonna have a built left leg. Pump the clutch again? After driving this a few times. Together with that, we've also removed the brake pedal, put a manual pedal in there, and we've also put the clutch pedal in there. It was a bit fiddly to get it in, but it is in. It's pretty straightforward as well. And Dino has finished off the interior with the brand new gear boot and the shifters on there with a brand new genuine shift knob as well. Alright guys, and we are here with the S13. Yes, it is driving. The boys ended up finding a speed sensor because the speed sensor that we had was wrong. So if you're doing this manual swap, you have to get a 5-speed manual speed sensor as well. So once the boys put that in, they also filled the car with oil, and that was it. The car's driving, and here's Perry over here, wrapped. The car is absolutely driving flawlessly, and it's like driving a different car now, guys. The S13 was meant to be manual.
The car sounds different, drives different, and I'm speechless. I love it.
We actually have been driving it all day today and we haven't recorded yet, but now we're going to jump in the car and we're actually going to give you kind of first drive, but not actually our first drive, driving the S13. And everything works as planned. The reverse lights do come on, so the wiring that we did does work. The key does come out of the ignition, and we are running the standard automatic computer and everything works fine. And here we are in the S13, officially driving it. How good does it feel to do something yourself with a couple of mates in your own garage? Something that you love and something that you enjoy.
Nothing better.
Oh mate, just that feeling that feeling of success, not success, that feeling of doing something on your own and making it work.
And just the memories while doing it with, say, in our circumstance with like cousin, it's good memories as well, bonding.
100%.
Yeah.
It's all that bonding. Once we get older, we're gonna remember days like this. We're gonna remember times like this.
Remember we did the gearbox on the Silvia and you cut your eye. I don't know if you've noticed Andrew's eye. Did you tell him the story about what happened there?
No, I didn't, and that's gonna be a secret.
Okay,
You guys don't have to know about that.
Keep that a secret.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, that's the life. That's the whole point of us modifying our cars. We enjoy it, we love it, and we drive them, guys.
And that's it.
I have to move the seat forward. Sorry, mate. Oh, shoot. Clutch feels very nice.
Nice.
Whoosh.
You can hear a bit more of the turbo dose now too.
Hey. Whoosh.
Yeah. Nice and smooth like butter, eh?
How good's that?
What do you think?
In and out of gears so easy.
Look at it.
In and out of gears so easy.
Look at that.
Man, this thing drives so good.
I love it.
So fucking good. Whoosh.
Hey guys, let's try and get Andrew into a Silvia. What are we saying?
Don't tempt me. Don't tempt me, please. So that's how you do a 5-speed swap on S13, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please be sure to leave us a thumbs up, comment down below, and consider subscribing. We'll catch you in the next one, guys.
There you go.